and whatever I see is smiling at me. Love is who I am.
Hello there, beloved Ascension Pioneers, and welcome to this video update here with me. It's actually the day of the Super New Moon in Aries, which is a huge trigger, but not just physically where we are at, but this is almost like a divine precipitation coming. And what is happening is that every time we get an upsurgence of light, there's going to be things still coming up to the surface. So as much as we're going to be receiving new information and attunements, and we're going to be again guided to start something new, and I feel a lot of pioneers are starting off something new in their journeys, and I am as well as in completing certain stages of the projects we used to go through, and something is just culminating this year in overall aspect. But there's a deepening of something I wish to talk about here today, which is receiving those attunements on a greater galactic sense and a greater level. So as you know, from time to time I like to talk about these more stellar system, all these things more themes and topics on that note, because there's many things I like to talk about. And what I'm receiving currently is that there's like this almost like the return of where we started from, you know. And for me, that awakening began around 7 years ago. So as you know, as our bodies go through cellular reawakening and repatterning, like a whole dissolution happens and the cells totally renew themselves after 7 years, as well as is happening right now, and it's symbolic for stages of where we're at, many of us. So for me personally, what I can do is I can share this with you, that it's almost like we started with our awakening, we go out and start to propel our multidimensional awakening and going with these offshoots of energy in many different directions, but then eventually we're going to return back. We're going to return to that seed which began our awakening. I'm going to talk about this much more in detail and in depth in my upcoming Cosmic Beloved course, and it's going to also be in the way we have relationships, so that we, as those of us who are especially here as volunteer souls, who are cosmic masters, who are coming from many different origins of the star systems, but what we're at, we're kind of like consciously attuning to the information that's our stellar information. And a lot of beings would refer to receiving that through our stellar gateway. And we cannot do that if that is not activated. For most humans, it's not activated. But for beings who directly transfer their energy through a particular stargates, through a different star system, that's where we're receiving our knowledge. That's why it's pure and it's unbiased and it's not even channeled. It's directly coming from our localized group, our star family, and in how it then translates back. And what happens is we've been receiving that and we've been kind of piling and gathering that up together. But there needs to be a synthesis now, and I continue to talk a lot about the synthesis. And what it feels for me is that this new moon in Aries, it almost like feels like our new ascendant year. And go read the latest Ascension blog and update that's on my page, Ascension Pioneers, because on each new and full moon I share Ascension guidance with specifically what Ascension Pioneers are going through and where we're at in our journeys, and why certain things are going the way they are in our human level. From our human perspective, something might seem this way, and a lot of the times we still have distorted filters over what's happening with the reality. And then when we have that greater perspective, we feel much greater clarity and peace. So when these upsurgence of energies, when that comes, that divine precipitation, awakening, that new level, it means we're usually ready for that new level. So then what happens is there's also going to be that feeling, what am I processing now? What's happening? What's coming up? It's because what needs to come up will come up. And usually when we've already integrated something, it feels peaceful, it feels solid. But when there's like this new resurgence happening, we'll know that it's actually our energy is being lifted up again. And as we're directly translating this energy from our stellar gateway, what happens is that there will be new information coming through as well. So what is leaving us energetically in these old data frameworks make space for this new cosmic awareness to come through. You know, for a lot of us, we started this journey as in the New Age movement, a lot of the people started this awakening in parallel with the twin flame and with the whole twin flame phenomena and awakening through the mirror of another who you perceive as your split soul, other you, whatever, in another human form. A lot of us have now already transcended this. A lot of you have transcended this because you're moving from still that linear framework of what we can call a twin flame into a more galactic awareness, and from there on it becomes a template for the cosmic beloved. And what I'm being shown is this is the essence of what I'm going to teach, not even teach, but the knowledge that it goes beyond what we can imagine on this level, where we have had it established so far. Because whenever we complete something, staying with that will just makes us repeat the cycles. And there was a lot of people who were continuously repeating the karmic cycles. But when we take that loop at the infinity symbol, we come back to where we originated from, because our earth awakening happens through the gateway of the earth and through the earth chakra, through our root. So what we do is we don't go back, but we are spiraling through and we're creating the loop of the infinity symbol and pulling it back down. So it seems like we're back at the same spot, but we're not, because our integration has changed, and that integration leads to our embodiment. So if you're interested and you feel you're in this journey, I will talk a lot about this in the presentation of the course, which is coming very soon. There's a lot of information coming through today on this beautiful day, the new moon seeding so much new for us. So duly taken, take that, duly noted what you notice for yourself coming through at the specific time of the new moon, because it does feel for a lot of us who are star-seeded or who have a different telecommunication system than most of the people, because we don't travel through the astral planes, we don't engage with guides in that kind of way. We actually have more galactic guides, and we have direct stellar stations that we actually communicating from, because our incarnation was even differently seated. It was a part of the experiment for the new earth, because we are the seeders of the new earth. So how we receive information, how we're focusing on this new template that we each uniquely will bring through and what we will bring about, is now becoming more clearer to us. There are less veils as to a lot of people were asking for a lot of time what's their purpose. You know, that does in a way open the gateway of you wanting to know more, but it can also confuse you because you continue to stay in lack modality, because you continue to search for something that's always coming from the lack template. Where we're coming from now is this abundance, you know, the inner library, the inner resource template, which is always full. It always wants to overflow itself. It wants to share itself. But what this also brings is that clarity of our life force, what it is, how it guides us, how it speaks to us, the things it shows us, and it comes through pure resonance. Our life force is becoming pure resonance once we know how to merge our cosmic mind, the cosmic heart, and the root of our physical experience. The root is not to be judged. So if you imagine prior to your awakening you had certain experience that you couldn't fully understand, and you still think they were because of others, or you said, there's other beings are dark, other forms and species are dark. Just today someone, my friend, mentioned to me that as she was doing a session, Anunnaki came through, and she didn't even know what they were, but she felt a bit frightened, and the guidance said, don't worry, they're just watching. They don't want to do the things they used to do, and they want to change that. So they're just observing. But what a lot of people prior to their full, not just awakening, but their integration of when the wisdom becomes distilled in your human embodiment, as we make those assumptions, we make those conclusions, that is why we have to go back. We have to take all the multidimensional pieces, bits and pieces, those experiences, almost like raindrops. That's why I call it divine precipitation, and then firmly anchor it to the root of the human experience, where there's no more duality in terms of what's good and bad, evil, which beings are bad, which beings are, putting those labels onto things, like saying, oh, now all Anunnaki are bad, or now all these beings are, wanting to control. All these beings have a service to self program mentality. That's basically how our mind thinks when it seems or it feels into something that is a potential for that. But then it kind of takes that potential and, draws it or paints it over the whole other pictures and other potentials. An awakened, enlightened being in the physical presence will not do that. Also, it will not disengage when someone tells you, look, this is not so for me, and you will continue to force someone, because we will force each other with our own energy signatures by trying to pursue another or trying to govern another, dominate in some way. Like I have online stalkers sometimes, or I have people who try to convince me into something. They will try to sell me something like, this is how it is, please, I know this, so you don't have any saying in that. That is forced rape energy. Mental rape, spiritual rape, it doesn't matter, but it's still us not coming from our full enlightened state because we haven't really gotten it for ourselves. We haven't really become the cosmic master. So once we do that loop and bring that experience back, and we firmly anchor ourselves, things will get clearer for us. Why? It's because we will feel almost like my friend said today, I feel as if I'm on Earth, but at the same time more spaced out from the whole experience. Yes, from the whole association of how we used to associate with the planet through duality and through judgment and through projection, which we say, okay, my truth, the only truth, my perception, my opinion, my dogma, the whole of the perception. Now we feel more humbled. So the more you're humbled, the more you are of Earth, but at the same time, the lighter you are. So it's a paradox in a way. How our ascension is also making us more descend, is making us more present in the physical body. So that's why our human life force, which is not just human, but it's being governed through our galactic origin, is basically beginning to resonate with what is. And I've always had this template, and I've felt that, but I didn't always trust it completely and fully. So when our life force becomes completely intelligent, with the cosmic mind, heart, and root merged, is in one column of white light, which I've been talking a lot about, especially in my video with the return of white light, and how all of the energies and the spaces in between that we have as energy points and grids, and like our own body grid system, how they're kind of fusing together, creating this synthesized human being, the Homo luminous. It's a process, but you will notice, because your functioning will become more synthesized. You won't just have different perspectives and you think, I'm going to have to weigh out different options from my different energetic bodies. My mind says something, my body says something else, my emotion says something different as well. But you will kind of feel as just life force. You won't have any other words, but I've been using that myself because I haven't felt anything else but either being drawn to something or not. And there wasn't much complication around it. I still felt oftentimes, hello Aunt, I still could feel, for example, feeling the difference between when my cosmic self knows this and how things just naturally unfold, and being fully surrendered into great divine timing, divine order in that perfection. Because perfection is our vehicle of driving us towards expansion, because we want to explore. And yet there's also a state of non-perfection, which is the experience itself. And being perfectly imperfect, and when we actually experience and embrace the physical experience, because we have created it. We're the initial designers of the human experience, and then we say, we don't like this experience, we judge it. What does that mean? We haven't come full circle. So the thing is that when we have that knowledge, we take it back to a new circle, and in this new circle we create with that knowledge. And this is basically how Source operates. So gathering of that information and using it to create, and again and again. So this is where a lot of us are in the circle now. It feels like this evening out. It feels like there's going to be new information, new levels, new everything coming through. But there's still parts of us that are a little bit old that won't fully understand that. When these parts come up, we have to address them. We have to speak to them. We have to allow them to have their voice, because otherwise, again, it will become a negation of it. Whatever. It's just a stupid little me. It's just a stupid mind. It's just a stupid voice. Again, we're judging it. We need to allow things to always transpire, to blossom, to mature in their own way. And this does require great observation and patience, which is wisdom. It comes from wisdom. And listen to when another says something to you. For example, in our relationships, a lot of times we don't listen. We just want to get our own words out. Like, for example, I have a person writes to me emails every day, no considerations of what my feelings, if I even want to talk to them. It's just non-stop. And it's like forcing you with that energy, which you clearly don't want to engage with. So do we want to continue that way as beings? Are we really just an illusion, or are we really living with clarity and with the pursuit of unconditionality, with that compassion, which means knowing your path, but don't force others with that. Because if something is a mutual resonance, your life force will guide you to that mutual resonance. Your life force is so natural now in your body. Your light body's intelligence is merging with your physical body's intelligence, and they're no longer different. For a lot of the beings now, they're becoming almost fully synthesized. So watch where you still want to kind of live in the old where you're already basically in the new. So this is kind of where we're at. We're, like I've shared this with you before, we're kind of like going a little back, going a little further, just testing it out, because in a way it is an experiment. This is where we haven't gone before, and being lifted off with the planet at the same time. And someone recently sent me something about a specific method to ascend. I didn't even look into it because I saw that there's these courses that these people offer. They're like thousands of dollars of worth, and I was like, okay, whatever, because I'm really not in alignment with someone saying this is the only way, or you know, this is the only way. The physical ascension journey does have requirements. It does have choices we need to make in order to understand the basic methodology, the basic mechanism, like the mechanics of the physical vehicle. You have to know basic chemistry to change the basic metals into gold, for example. So this is kind of like we need to know our bodies and what they're going through in this process. But this is kind of like the only standardized model there is, the only standardized ways. And people sometimes tell me, can you tell me of one technique, how we can like have a shortcut towards, you know, eliminating the mind or things like that? Well, no, I cannot, because, you know, first of all, there's no shortcuts in Ascension. There's no easy does it. You just, you know, push other things aside. All the things that are triggers we need to address, and we need to feel, and we need to move through. We need to transcend them, because without transcendence is the wheel of emotion that we have set in motion, because we want to have that experience. It will keep turning until we get it, and we say, I'm gonna go jump on the another you know, more expanded wheel. And actually that wheel, once we're ready, it's going to become a spiral of ascension, because we're ready. So I'm not fond of things saying this is the only way. If we don't do this, you know, your physical bodies will die because you're not going to have the proper understanding. It's basically, again, selling people fear. And Ascension is so natural, it's so organic. It's just that our souls already have chosen these things and have chosen these pathways. But the only thing because we really don't have to worry about it anymore. You know, a lot of us, maybe we still have worries. I've had people that said, I'm worried, I'm maybe not going to ascend, or I'm not going to ascend in this lifetime. It's like, what? You know, we don't have to have those worries. The only thing we need to be focused on is our current lifetime, where we are, what are our gifts and attributes, how we are overflowing with our love, to be in the cosmic love presence, and then to know that what we have set up in motion, those wheels, they're already turning. We have set up everything in motion. We just kind of have to let it play itself out. We have to kind of see the show go off and say, okay, you know, I'm a participant of that, but also conscious co-creator. That's how I participate. So, like I said, the energies are specifically strong. Every year at the beginning of the new astrological year, the energy is amplified. But this year specifically, the energy is intense because we haven't had those conditions in a while now. And even astrologically, I think some people say it doesn't matter, but in a way it does, because it's all us. Even astrology is what we have created. It's all that's turning, and it's in motion in a way. It's in motion with us. We are in partnership with every single fragment of creation. So it's like a cycle of creation coming to a closure, and yet a new one is beginning. And we have to take the gifts and resources from what we've already learned in the previous cycle. And if we don't do that, is basically we're going to say, maybe I haven't fully mastered all of them. Let's repeat, you know, and it's nothing wrong with repeating, you know. If you like something, you repeat it as well. But sometimes there's better things. Sometimes there's not better, but different things we haven't tried before. And we're not going to go there just because we don't know what it is right away. Sometimes in the spiritual initiation, you have to leave the familiar and the already established, and maybe a great success even, for something that you don't even know what it's about, but you feel so drawn to it. It's your magnetism that's guiding you there. So this is kind of where the energy of this new one is, where it's at. I created a beautiful ceremony here today. I've never heard so many birds sing together in a choir like today, so many different species. I was charmed, basically charmed. And it's so hot here the last few days, but the shift is coming. So really felt this. That's kind of like the energy's piling up, but there's going to be, with this new moon, it's going to be like a breakthrough. It's going to be this coming out. And for a lot of you, it's going to be on a more cosmic level. There's going to be new knowledge. But basically, it's already there. But new for you is in your human form, how you're going to carry it out, how you're going to work with it, how you're going to partner up with it. And this is kind of like where a lot of us are at this point, at this current point in space and time. So today was a beautiful day for me. If you have anything, just create a ceremony for you, because this is where actually our new year really begins. So anything writing things down, what is meaningful for us at this time, where we wish to go. But as always, then letting it go, because we know that we've already set the wheels in motion. We don't have to additionally kind of always check in whether it's right or not. It's already perfect as it is. So I'm leaving this beautiful sacred space in a few moments, so I hope you like this video, that somehow it brought some more clarity. Like I said, more in depth, more in detail, and so much in my Cosmic Beloved upcoming course. I wish you a beautiful time. As always, so much love, wisdom, and power. Thank you for those of you who are sharing, subscribing, sharing your feedback, of course, and donations if you are so called to do. And that's it. Enjoy your beautiful sacred spaces as well where you are. I love you all so much, and as always, with so much grace, beauty, and love. Bye. So what is also happening is that a lot of us are coming together with our close affiliations, kind of like associations that I think I've been talking about them in my previous video on the self-mastery and our template of the new. It's because, I've mentioned the difference between soul groups and then soul affiliations. When we have soul associates, these are actually the beings that we need for the variety of our purpose. So let's say for the great mission that is the same goal-oriented, you need the uniqueness of form and experience. So people and beings within different essences coming together for one joined resource. Like within the Great White Brotherhood, there's many, many councils of light within different energy and from the different systems with a different orientation of the variation of creation. So let's say you come together with certain people and you really feel resonance with them. They're not going to feel of your soul family. They're not going to maybe feel totally the same, but there's a proximity and there's this passionate purpose orientation, and that's how you recognize your soul associates. And these are almost like co-creational partners with you. That doesn't mean now they need to do something physical, like a physical project with you, but just sharing energy and maybe different, gathering of information with them will bring you to a more enlightened perspective, to a wider variety of gifts, because it's almost like you have a project that requires, maybe 12 members. I'm using the number of the soul group, so 12 members, and if they all have just one knowledge, maybe just how to physically construct a building, there's no plan, there's no other things, like other views, then the whole project wouldn't come from the completion. It wouldn't come from all angles. So we're coming together with our soul associates that are here to help us with different angles of creation. So let's not judge each other like from maybe being a bit different in energy or having a different energy signature, because that's what we're here from, to expand our views. Each one of us not just has our earthly experiences that are different, but we also have different galactic training, and that's where we're coming together to form these greater groups, greater councils of light, but here on Earth. So on Earth we might call them enlightened communities. Well, in the greater spaces, the stellar spaces, we call them councils of light. So as above, so below. And that's why we are now here to claim our home, which is Earth, and not running away from it, but claiming it as that template for what we've started, we've seeded, but now we're actually completing this project. And it's a great project. It's a multidimensional project, actually, but we have all the tools, we have all the resources. We just now need to use them to partner up, to co-create, and recognize each other, who of us have come together for some sort of exchange of energy, exchange of resources, gifts. Let us not see each other as opponents, or there's this perspective in the New Age that a lot of times there's so much sweetness and covert language used, but under the surface there's a lot of judgment, a lot of comparison, a lot of stigma even. And in truth, masters of the new are nothing like that. We're here to bring through this beautifully empowering perspective of descent and ascension, and really being our highest potential without any judgment, just embracing each other and our unique gifts. And this means living our stellar nature, but here on Earth, which is highly important. And I really wanted to share that with you, because you will know when you find your soul associates. So this is not just, when people talk about meeting your soul tribe to, chant, dance, pray, all of that, which I'm not judging. It's nice, it's a nice experience to come together for a co-creation of a specific energy you wish to, participate in. But when I talk about soul associates, these are usually members of the star team or many different teams and many different councils, that somehow they have a very specific purpose. They feel a huge devotion to that. And when they meet up, their main focus and emphasis will be on that passion, that shared passion. It might be a variety in how they share it, but there will be a mutual reception in how they actually express their passion in their own unique way. So that's all I wanted to share here. For a lot of us, this is really about the purpose, and we're here for the mission. That's what we feel so strongly, and that is why our hearts are always at the right place, and we know how to use them as the center, but we don't also forget to use our great, beautiful, divine minds and the root of all of our experiences. So thank you for watching yet again, and enjoy this beautiful sacred space.